Hello World Wide Web, I'm Shado, the internet personality with the best hair. And while I've been trying to catch up on a lot of requests to review newer movies that are related to the older ones that I've already reviewed, sometimes that does mean reviewing things like Deep Blue Sea 2. Released straight to DVD last year, Deep Blue Sea 2 is obviously the sequel to the 1999 shark movie Deep Blue Sea. It's about experiments in a remote oceanic laboratory that creates super smart sharks in an attempt to make magical juice that fixes human brains. But instead, all we get is a horror movie as the beasts turn on their captors and attempt to kill them! That's the synopsis of both movies. People thought The Force Awakens was a copy-paste job. There are differences here too, though. This time they're bull sharks, and there's no LL Cool J, and the shark motivations are a tad different. First movie they were trying to escape. This time, they simply want to kill everyone in the lab. And they do so by sitting the movie out, mostly. I mean, they still die, but it's not because the big sharks are really trying all that hard. Anyway, let's take a look at Deep Blue Sea 2, and see the Deep Blue 2. After a short clip ensuring us that this is indeed a shark movie. You know, shark finning is reprehensible enough. You don't need to point out it's illegal for us to want these people dead. Or you can just go all out and ham it up as best you can. Illegal shark fishing, while they are working without a boating license, polluting, and working on the Sabbath. If you don't know what shark finning is, don't worry, they show us! These two catch sharks just long enough to chop their fins off, then throw them back to die as they can't swim without their dorsal fins. I'm sure you all remember that episode of Captain Planet. However, their happy spree of genocidal pescatarianism is interrupted when warning comes that they are in dangerous waters and must leave at once.
I don't want to go to jail, man.
Poaching endangered species is one thing, but I don't want to get caught trespassing. As we could have guessed, they don't have time to fart around deciding if they're going to stay or not anyway, as very shortly, their boat is slammed into. Several times, in fact. Not only that, but there seems to be a pack of sharks swimming in formation around their boat.
What are they doing? They're serving themselves up on a platter. That's what.
And when being evil isn't good enough to get you killed in a horror movie, you can always fall back on good old dumb. As such, they just stand on the end of the boat like morons, despite the fact the sharks already hit them twice. One more is all it takes for them to leap overboard and be viciously killed one after the other. Sharks are there like, nah, we're not gonna kill you, we're just gonna bite off your arms and legs so you can't swim. How do you like it, asshole? The poachers have long since been digested by the time the man who issued the warning about the dangerous waters shows up, Trent Slater, played by Rob Mayers. While the shark killers are long gone, however, the killer sharks are still close by. As if he didn't look enough like the poor man's Chris Pratt already. Well, enough of that. It's time for the purely artistic close-ups of our leading lady swimming around in a bikini, Danielle Savray, who plays Misty Calhoun, a conservationalist who just showed this attract reel of her TNA along with the occasional bit of marine life to a classroom of college students. As this is not only a metaphorical lecture.
You know, the idea that great whites are these malicious killing machines roving the shorelines looking for some swimmer to chomp on is just pure fiction perpetuated by Hollywood. See, kids, sharks are not really this evil creature of malevolence and violence that Hollywood tries to make you believe. Now please enjoy our killer shark movie. You know, anytime there is a human attack, it's just a case of mistaken identity.
So sharks aren't malevolent, they're just really dumb and violent. How is this an argument that you don't have to be afraid of sharks? Undermining her point even further, Misty is asked what sharks she wouldn't swim with, and gives a short speech about how vicious and dangerous bull sharks are, and their bite is 10 times worse than a great white. You know, that puppy of the sea she was just telling them was oh so cute. Thus ends her presentation, but not her usefulness in this movie, as she is approached by bad Thai enthusiast Craig Burns, played by Darren Meyer. Despite the topics so far, this man is especially fishy considering he represents a pharmaceutical company, is requesting her presence at the behest of the CEO of said company, and straight up gives her a check for $50,000 to keep no matter what, just to lure her to show up for the meeting, without bothering to tell her at all what the subject of it will be.
From what I've read recently, your institute could use the money. Something about a grant withdrawal, if I recall?
Oh, so she has financial problems. Or had. She just got handed a check for 50 grand, so way to remove that incentive.
Aren't you even a little curious about what we're doing?
Well, you haven't told her shit, so what the hell does she have to go on? Trent's gone back to the deep-sea laboratory with the sharks already, and decides to take it up with Aaron Elroy, played by Nathan Lynn, that their perimeter fence was compromised, and yet nobody said or did anything about it. Problem is, as Aaron points out, the fence is shown to be perfectly fine.
I don't sleep on my job. Then how do you explain 5 sharks going for a goddamn choice swim?
Well, for one thing, your perimeter fence isn't particularly tall. Ever seen Free Willy? Actually, the fish went for the much harder but much more secret option and used the old Shawshank Redemption technique to escape.
It's a tunnel under the cable. Sharks can't do that. Can they?
Well, the first movie is anything to go by. That really doesn't fucking matter now, does it? Yeah, no reason to tell the boss just yet. That way we can jump back over to Misty as she meets more characters. The loving couple who are obviously so dead. Daniel Kim, played by Jeremy Boato, and Leslie Kim, played by Kim's sister. They're a couple of neuroscientists.
So a neurophysiologist, a neurobiologist, and a shark conservationist enter a bar. What's the punchline?
The neurophysiologist can't decide what to drink because they can't figure out which will feel the best going down. The neurobiologist can't figure out what to drink because they don't know which one will make them feel the warmest and most pleasant. And meanwhile, the shark conservationalist is just screaming at the bartender over his great white tattoo. As it just so happens, the Kims also have no information whatsoever as to what this meeting is all about. Their story is the same as Misty's. Got a check, told to come, thus here they are, waiting to figure out what in the hell Carl Durant wants them for.
I am baffled as to why I'm here.
We need something more to sell this killer shark movie. Bring me a blonde with big boobs. For the movie this time, you idiot! As I don't know still, they hop on the boat with Mr. Burns and head on down to the deep-sea laboratory with an interesting name.
Welcome to Akalos.
You mean Achilleos? As in the child's who's turned into a shark.
That's the one.
Are you kidding me? None of the idiots who buy this movie are going to get that reference. Explain it to them. Slowly. Anyhow, Trent gives the perimeter fence a quick and dirty patch job, surfacing just in time for the two attractive, single, and close-in-age characters to meet, right before Misty's attention is taken away by the creatures they are holding there.
What are you guys doing with bull sharks in containment?
Welcome. Welcome. I see you've met our test subjects.
And Carl Durant, played by Michael Beach, answers that in short order. Test subjects! To test their drugs, on how they work. On sharks! Because that's important information.
How many do you have?
5, including Bella.
Well, that might be interesting to know if we had any fucking idea who the hell Bella was yet.
You might explain to me what it is you're doing with... What is it you refer to them as? Your test subjects?
Very important test subjects.
You know, sharks aren't lab mice.
Lab mice are small and cheap and easily replaceable and far less likely to destroy your entire fucking lab and kill people if things go bad.
Yes, they are a bit more dangerous than traditional lab rats, but no one is going to get hurt out here.
You can't guarantee that.
Untold levels of pain and suffering will come from her acting alone. He figures they do have the ability to prevent any kind of problem with the sharks, though, and takes the group topside so that Aaron can show them.
Well, as Mr. Durant said, we have an extensive safety protocol, which... Seriously?
And if the sharks ever get uppity, just toss them the comic relief. Misty doesn't really think this is the best way to go about it, though, and after Aaron somehow manages to teleport farther and farther away, she dives in to save him. Which, if you paid attention during the opening, you already know is unnecessary.
Come on! Oh my god! Oh my gosh!
They lived thanks to the pokey button thing. Would have been a lot scarier had we not already known it existed and how it worked, but what do I know? I'm just some fuck nugget on a couch posting to the internet my thoughts about movies. You take your Warner Brothers paycheck and make your films. I'm sure you know what you're doing. Misty says it's impossible to condition trained bull sharks, but Mr. Durant says he'll explain everything once she changes into something a bit less soggy. However, things aren't as watertight as he might believe.
When your shark spit my foot. You're imagining things. Look at my freaking shoe, dude.
Sharks tore off absolutely all of the recognizable branding. The monsters. Either way, we watch as Misty gets out of those wet clothes. Except her wet underwear, because, come on, Danielle didn't get paid that much to be in this movie. No bother, in this underwater laboratory where we can be certain a crisis will occur and the characters will be soaking wet through most of it, she decides to wear a white shirt so thin, it doesn't even have to be wet for you to see right through it. Durant, in the meantime, is slinking off secretly to stealthily suck on a secret serum, and... his hallucinations of graphs is interrupted by Mr. Burns, who tells them about the sharks and the tunnel they dug and the people they likely killed. However, Durant is on some crazy brain bender and points out that they still followed Trent back to the lab, and that's good. Burns points out that if they eat the wrong people, though, they might get sued.
I created them, and once my research is completed, I will end them.
What does that mean?
Of all the crazy shit this man's spouting, I will end them is what confuses you?
They have trackers embedded in their fins. We can always find them, whether they're here or out in the deep blue sea.
Well, we pulled that name drop a hell of a lot faster this time around.
And once my experiment is over, I will simply kill them. All of them, so don't worry about the liability.
Ooh, but the sharks witnessed their conversation! And are so smart they understand English? Or out there they wouldn't even be able to hear. They can read lips? Now fuck it, they're psychic. And therefore wouldn't actually have to be out there and seeing them in order to know. How the hell with it all?
There will be no evidence.
You really have no fucking idea how the hell pharmaceutical laboratory tests work, do you? Thus, Mr. Burns leaves, and sensing this will be important later, Durant grabs the rest of the bottles of 5-Hour Epiphany and a mysterious key that they linger on long enough that we're damn sure it'll be important come Act 3. Also, Mrs. Kim finds out just now that her new husband actually did know what they were getting into because he's given Durant research data for months. Not only his work, but hers as well. The big take I got from this scene, though, is that she is also wearing her shirt so damn thin it doesn't have to be wet before it's see-through. The big reveal, though, is when Durant brings them all together to tell them that with the help of the Kim's research, he's developed a brand spanking new type of neurotropic brain stimulant that doesn't just make you more alert, but also
Alter the genetic structure of the brain, speeding up evolution in the direction of greater intelligence. Much greater.
You wouldn't believe the amount of Facebook quizzes I've passed that 97% of people fail.
And we deliver these compounds using targeted antibodies from sharks.
Seems kind of a weird way to go about it. In the first movie, at least, they said, hey, shark brains have this juice in them that we need to cure Alzheimer's, so grow big sharks with big brains and we can get more juice. Here they're just like, well, that's our delivery method because we need sharks in this movie. Also,
You're testing these drugs on sharks. That's absolutely inhumane.
even if there is some specific thing about bull shark antibodies that you desperately need for this to work, why the fuck are you using your ingredient as your test subject? Lab rats would still be better suited for this. They're far cheaper, far easier to replace, far less likely to run amok and fucking kill everyone. Unless they become so smart they become tribal and form little rat societies and start killing people with like poison syringe spears and... Oh, fuck, I'd rather be watching that movie. To prove what they're doing is perfectly safe and A-OK, Durant gets Trent to drug Bella, the big female leader of the pack, and they haul her into the tank so the CEO can rant about how great his brain drugs are already, like he's been doing.
We've already increased Bella's base intelligence by 1,000-fold.
Jesus fuck, is she gonna break out of that harness with fucking telekinesis? This is also damn important for humans because this guy's seen Terminator 1 too many times.
Artificial intelligence is becoming stronger every year.
And it still sucks. Made a review of fried chicken? Huh. Restricted mode, that's some 18+ content right there. If you want a good laugh at the idea of AIs taking over humanity anytime soon, put on the automatic captions for this video and see what the fuck they think I'm saying. Concerns over the HALNet Matrix ending civilization as we know it seem kinda premature though when the fucking fish are already making things hard. They cut loose the boat and drag it over to the generator. Did they ever think to have their shark pen located somewhere different to the parking lot and generator and stockpile of gasoline? I mean, it's kind of hard to forgive horror movie stupidity when the guy in charge is supposed to be, according to the plot, literally the smartest man on the planet to superhuman levels. Well then, better really quickly explain why in the fuck Misty is here. Bella's acting weird and they want to know why.
She's pregnant.
What?
How do I know if Shark is pregnant?
I do blood draws on her every week. We'd know if she was knocked up.
Did you do an ultrasound?
Oh, fuck that. They're laboratory animals under constant surveillance. The breakout earlier was supposedly the first one that ever happened. So shouldn't you have shark fucking on film somewhere here? They figure the drugs maybe altered her hormone levels, something, was pregnant, but they looked like normal levels, handwave and all that. However, instead of doing an ultrasound on Bella, they figure get a good old swab of her saliva, because that'll surely help them determine something. Just means she can wake up from her anesthetic an hour early. Oh, shit. Yes, quick! The shark is awake and now dangerous! Please, release it from its binds before it doesn't hurt anybody. Now that Bella is back in the water, free from the need of any electrical power whatsoever, the generator blows. Well, the water around the generator with all the gas poured on it. You know, come to think of it, since they stored all the gas drums right there next to the generator with the caps off, it really was only a matter of time before this happened anyway. Now that the lab is compromised, the sharks go after what having no electrical power should make considerably less reliable anyway.
She's taking out the cameras.
She can do that?
Yeah? Knowing that cameras are cameras is the impressive part. Biting and destroying something. Yeah, sharks do that. It'd be more weird if they did something like swimming backwards. The sharks also give the lab itself a few good solid slams, resulting in it quite easily breaking, and water leaking into the corridors. Flooding isn't hardly the worst of Mr. Burns' problems, though.
What is it?
Are practical effects just a lost art? Couldn't they spend half as much on a dummy with gore makeup and it looked 20 times as good? Oh, and the big electrical fence is down, but unlike the original movie, these sharks don't want to break free. They just want to fucking kill people!
Even though the fence is down there, they're staying to get us?
Wait a minute. This doesn't make sense.
You're just noticing this now. He means if all the sharks are out there, then who killed Mr. Burns?
Bella isn't pregnant anymore.
What?
She had her babies.
Of course it was a fucking baby.
We need to get topside.
I agree. There's just one problem. All the exits are underwater.
Well, that and the fact that the computer showed that the elevator was out of order. Real shit emergency planning there. Have a total of 0 fucking emergency exits.
So how do we get out of here if there's no exit?
Well, there is one other way. You thinking what I'm thinking?
Yeah, I also have Under the Sea stuck in my head, but I don't see how that helps us right now. They figure they can use the handy-dandy lab pool to swim into the lagoon and reach the satellite phone topside to call for help.
I'll go. No, you won't. You need it here.
No, I'll go.
Goddamn giant tits! Good enough. While I'm distracted by her boobs and how they fit into her suit, never mind what it is she's actually going to do here, Mike Chatello, played by Adrian Collins, says fuck it and goes ahead with the plan without them, which goes about as well as expected.
Is he dead?
He's not CGI, he's fine. Action hero Trent Slater dives in to save him, dragging the guy all the way back to the lab where the lady can administer some CPR. This saves his life!
Those sharks can kiss my ass!
For like 20 seconds. Before they have too much time to come up with a plan B, pressure control is lost in the wet lab, and they must flee to the corridors where the big sharks can't get them. And, yeah, that's almost how the rest of the damn movie goes now. Various corridors of various colors, all about half full of water, as the people are slowly stalked. But not by the bull sharks we actually want to see.
Hey!
Not your damn friends, always sneaking up on you in dark corridors just because they love how when you turn your neck it sounds like a violin. Rather, everyone gets separated in the big run for their lives, and now small groups are being tormented by the terrifying, destructive power! For tiny little school of baby sharks. Well, tiny in general. For a bull shark litter, that's actually a lot of them. Aaron, along with his friend and coworker Josh Hooper, played by Cameron Robertson, try to find somewhere to get out of the water to escape the baby sharks. But the door is stuck, and Josh doesn't pick the best place to keep the things from getting to him. Oh God, it's like when you try to shower with one of those exfoliating torture devices. Misty also makes no secret of how she intends to turn Durant over to the authorities for reasons, but because Carl believes his work will save the human race, he busts the door, trapping her behind while he and Trent have access to a service ladder to reach the surface. She wanted to stay below a bit longer anyway, trying to find Daniel and Leslie Kim, who are also looking for each other. Dan finds Leslie as well, but then again, so do the forever hungry horror movie carnivores. Well then, can see through a bit more than just a shirt now. Either way, Aaron finds Daniel and they find Misty, blowtorching the door as a means to get out. Of course, these damn tiny bastards are at it again, so instead of just running as fast as they can, Misty tells Aaron and Dan to go, while she holds off the tiny terrors with the blowtorch. Badly. Probably should have just gone on the other side of the door and then used the blowtorch on the small hole to prevent them from getting through that bottleneck. Would have been a hell of a lot easier to defend. Anyway, she goes for another way out while Trent gets that oh-so-important key we established earlier from Carl, shortly before the two men make it to the surface.
Fuck.
Or 1.5 men, I suppose. But Misty has an oxygen tank, and with that she can easily reach the wet lab and use that same damn tunnel they tried before to get to the lagoon and back to the surface. She has a hell of a lot more luck with it than anyone else, but that's not to say it has no drawbacks.
Misty! Misty, come on!
Trent, you know how you got that little, that button thing around your neck? Could use it? I don't expect it to work in Act 3, but you could at least fucking try. The guy effectively forgets he has it for the rest of the movie. Fortunately, she makes it up there safely just as well, and after a little yelling back and forth, the call for help made it through, and the Coast Guard sends a drone to see what's going on.
Why can't we catch a break?
So? It's not like the burning, sinking lab and the flying shark biting the drone won't be transmitted back to base. Help should be on the way about as fast as before anyway. They need help a tad faster, though, as the lab itself is sinking. Their only hope is to jump into the water and try to get their asses to the nearby boat as a means to escape. He'll be fine. It's a Deep Blue Sea movie. You'll be getting ready to ride off into the sunset with your love interest, and he'll just pop out like, hey, hi, I'm alive too. The presumed loss of Aaron means that everyone else just fucking treads water waiting to see who the sharks feel like eating next, instead of, you know, heading to the boat. Well, that's one way to finish your mermaid cosplay, I guess. But gosh darn horror movies, the engine won't start, and the sharks are still here looking to finish their 9-course meal. So, those are fucking flares. It would take a hell of a lot more than that to kill a full-grown bull shark. Unless another result of the genetic modification is 1 fucking hit point. Oh, but what do you know? He survived! Almost as if you could have guessed that just from what happened to LL Cool J in the original. Therefore, happy ending! The mad scientist is dead. As well as lots of others, but we find out that super special key was in fact the key to the self-destruct mechanism. Because of course there was a self-destruct mechanism, and everything blows the fuck up! Well, almost everything. Wow, it's like destroying a structure and everything inside it doesn't actually do anything to kill things that are by now very far away from it. Who would have guessed? Anyway, that was Deep Blue Sea 2. And it starts off kinda okay and then dives headfirst into boring and repetitive. First and foremost, the original Deep Blue Sea was no masterpiece of cinema. It was a cheesy monster movie with sharks and bad science. However, just because reality didn't match up with what was presented in the movie doesn't mean it wasn't internally consistent. Deep Blue Sea 2, though, simply makes no damn sense. A billionaire pharmacist is determined to save the human race from artificial intelligence by creating a drug to make humans super smart. To do this, he uses shark antibiotics as an ingredient and tests the compound on the same damn sharks, while testing it on literally any other creature on the planet would have been safer. Except maybe bears. There's a difference between cheesy dumb and painful dumb, and Deep Blue Sea 2 crosses that line with reckless abandon. The acting also doesn't help. Most of the performances on display are nothing special, but okay for a low-budget straight-to-DVD project. However, Danielle's performance as Misty is just all over. Maybe it's just me, but she came off like she didn't really get many opportunities to rehearse these lines, and the awkward deliveries just made me angry. Last but not least is the way the film utilizes what it was, a killer shark movie. Or not. The main focus of the horror comes from the shark babies, which is so damn frustrating. Yeah, it's a unique twist, but they're good for 1, maybe 2 kills. However, the things are used to hold up the horror for so much of the running time, it loses its appeal very damn fast, and I'm left wondering where the hell the giant killer sharks are in this giant killer shark movie. Don't sell me on how powerful and dangerous bull sharks are, and then show me the fucking petting zoo. Overall, Deep Blue Sea 2 is deeply disappointing, really blue, and I have no intentions of seeing it ever again, to put it bluntly. The visuals are very nice and sharp, and it's got fun moments, but you really gotta like shitty movies to get into this one. Coming in at 2 really big boobs squished into a wetsuit, out of 5. But to its credit, it did make me think, hey, you remember Deep Blue Sea? And there was some quality to that, you know? Thank you all for watching, I've been Dr. Shado, and remember, if you're going to genetically modify predators to be even more dangerous, maybe give your secret lab an emergency exit or 2.